everyone, Melissa here. Today I have, well, to start off, of course, I've changed my shape here. I've gone to almond. If you'd like to see how I did it, I do have an almond shaping video uploaded, so you can go back and take a look at that. Actually, I'll link it down here. Today I'm going to be doing what I call a layered plaid look. So I think this is going to be great for Thanksgiving week. That is, if I keep it on until Thanksgiving, because we all know me and I never keep a set on that long. But I'm going to be using double dipped cranberry tart for this look. Take My Money, which is a sheer nude beige color. You want, for a layered plaid, you want to have a sheer lighter color, so either a sheer milky white or a sheer light beige. I personally absolutely adore this color for this look because it gives a really kind of fally plaid base. And then I'm going to be using Snuggles and Cuddles from the double dipped sub bag, the fall sub quarterly bag. So I'm going to go ahead and get to dipping. I've already prepped my nails. I'm going to go ahead and do my bond, and then I'm going to get to dipping with my base colors. So I'm going to do cranberry tart on these three, Snuggles and Cuddles here, and then the plaid here. I think that'll do. I may end up switching it on accident. We'll see. Okay, so I'm done dipping out the base of my look. You might notice that I had to switch to the pour over method for my thumb, just because my thumbnail was too long to fit into this little sample size jar, so I had to make it work. I did 3 dips of my sheer on the middle finger where I'm going to do my plaid. I did 3 because I want to be able to file it and really shape it before I add the design on. I will be doing another dip of powder in the design, so that's going to add more thickness that I might happen to file away. And then for the glitter, I did 2 dips of the glitter and then 2 dips of clear over the top of it. This glitter gives really good coverage, so I didn't need more than 2 dips, and I like to be able to file and not worry about filing into my glitter, so that's why I like doing 2 dips of clear over glitter if I can. So now what I'm going to do is activate and file everything, and then we will come back to start the plaid design. Before I start filing, I'm just going to go ahead and say what is on my left hand, because I end up getting a lot of comments usually asking what colors I'm wearing on the other hand. On this hand, I am wearing double dipped Elegant Rose, and then this, you can't even see the chameleon reflections in it. It has like pink and coral and peach chameleon flakes in it, and it's like a nude shimmer. It's by Double Dipped. It's a custom she made, and it's one of the colors that she like gives away for contests and stuff like that. Just a little treat, but I love it. All right, so now we're gonna dive into filing here. If you happen to watch my almond shaping video, I also go into detail on how I file after dipping to maintain the shape. Okay, so here we are all filed up. So next we're going to start drawing some plaid lines on, and for this I have Burgundy Micron Pen. This is the color, I think the color is called Burgundy. And I'm going to be using a combination of these black Micron pens as well in different sizes. I've got a 0.45 and a 0.25, so depending on what level of detail I want to get to, I'll be switching those up. So I'm going to start with some black lines on here. I'm going to do, so it's going to do one coming. Is this one not wanting to cooperate with me today? What's going on here? I have a variety in case it needs to be changed up. All right, there we go. I'm gonna sketch out a diagonal line here. It's not gonna be perfect and clean this first swipe through because I'm gonna come back in with more detail and straighten it out a little. Okay, now I'm going to try and make another line perpendicular to that one, as perpendicular as possible, coming through about right here. And I find it's easiest to make it perpendicular if you try and draw a perpendicular line as though it's like a stitch going through the line. Right next to the line, and then you'll extend that out over the rest of the nail. I'm going to use another different one for this too. Same one still, and kind of, you see how that line looks a little rough. I'm just going to try my best to make it look nice and solid. You can vary the thickness of these. They don't have to be thin. You can make them thicker. In fact, that's part of the reason why this works, because if you mess up and you need to thicken it out to make that line look cleaner, then you can do that, and it all still ends up working. As long as your pens are actually working. Okay, I think that's fine for the black and this base layer, so I'm going to come in with my burgundy now. I want to make sure that my black is dry first, so I'm just going to give that a minute to set. Okay, I'm going to come in with this burgundy, and I'm going to do a line that is parallel to that first black line I did. This one I want to make quite a bit thicker, so I'm just going to add in some width. Going to add another line coming again perpendicular to the original, perpendicular to the original red, but parallel to the second black line. Okay, so once that line is done, we're just going to give it a few minutes to dry really well, because our next step will be to do a layer of base floated up over the top and then dip into the sheer color that you're using. So for me, is Take My Money. but I really want to make sure that it's dry. I don't want to smear any of these lines and mess up my design. Okay, so I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to float over, and if you haven't seen one of my videos where I explain floating, it's basically you're going to put the brush at the top of the nail here, and you're going to try and pull the liquids down by touching the brush actually to the nail as little as possible. So you don't want to drag the brush against the nail to get the liquids to come down. You're going to use the brush to kind of pull the liquids down over the top as gently as you can. That. You have to dab it over in spots, dab it over this red. This red micron likes to bleed more than the black one, so I'm just going to kind of dab it on in spots over the red. And I'm probably going to go ahead and let this layer dry first, because it's going to dry pretty quickly, and I'm taking my time to get that base over. But it's going to dry pretty quickly because there is activator in the layers underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry because it would have dried before I could dip it. And then I'm going to do another layer and then dip. Now this time when I put the layer of base over, I don't have to be as careful because I've already encapsulated that design with the first layer of base. So I can just paint it on as I normally would, and then dip into the dip, or lay in rather. Now I'm going to activate this, and then I'm going to lightly file and buff it just to get it nice and smooth again. Make sure that we have another smooth and matted out surface to draw on. Okay, again, you don't want to overfile when you're doing this because remember you only have one layer of dip powder over your design. If you file through that and file into the design, you have a lot of backtracking and a lot of reworking to do, and nobody wants to do that. So you just want to, again, just file the surface nice and smooth so that you can draw smooth lines, and then reinforce your shape, and you're good to go for the next layer, the next round. So this time I'm going to do again, you just kind of play it by ear or by eye. So I'm going to do a thicker line over here. I want to do a thicker black line this time on the top. And then I'm going to do just a small black line coming this way, kind of up against the thick red line that's underneath. Thicken that out just a bit to make it nice and clean and straight looking. Okay. I'm gonna do one more slightly larger a red line down here. Kind of up against the black line that was underneath. Not quite as thick as the other, just a little bit thicker than the one underneath. That. And I'm gonna do one more real thin red line right between these two, if I can manage it. It's the hardest part. Just trying to get a nice straight thin lines. It's definitely the hardest part. When you're willing to thicken them up, it's not so scary. But you won't need it to stay thin. Wrecking. Just a little bit. Okay. So I think that'll do. I had gotten a gold calligraphy pen, and it works really well for doing more lines on here. I didn't happen to like this tone of gold. It's too much of a yellow gold for the rest of the colors on here. It didn't go very well with the glitter, so I ended up not wanting to use it. But if you happen to find something like this, it's a really cool touch to add just like a gold line on top. Okay, so next step, last step, once you make sure, once again, that this is completely dry, make sure that you don't want to go in and do any touch-ups, and make sure everything looks just how you want it. Then we're going to do the same thing, floating that base over, just kind of dabbing it on where the red is, because as we've seen, some micron pens like to bleed more than others. So I'm just going to just press the base on in those areas where the red is. So I'm going to do another layer of base over here just to make sure it's fully encapsulated with the liquid before I activate. I've said this before with the matte top coat. I'm going to be using the double dipped No White gel matte top coat for this. For any matte top coat, you need a really, really nice smooth surface. My favorite way to do this is just to go ahead and finish with the dip top coat and then buff it smooth, because that dip top coat, it self-levels, so it gives a nice smooth finish, and then you buff it smooth, and then that gives an even smoother finish, and then you can do the matte top over the top of that. Now you can do this with, if you want to do like a gel base and then a gel top and then the matte top, that would also work. I prefer to use mostly dip liquids when and if I can. So this is how I do it. So I just activated. Now I'm going to do my dip top coat. Okay, I'm going to give these just a minute to dry up, and then I'm going to buff the nails other than my glitter nail smooth. I think I'll keep that shiny. We'll see. As you can see, I very quickly changed my mind about that glitter nail. I want it to be matte also. I didn't like it shiny. It was too shiny. Too shiny. Okay, so I'm going to apply a layer of the matte top coat on all of the nails and cure for 60 seconds. I'm gonna apply it, you wanna apply it very carefully so you can see you're applying it smooth, that there are no little like fibers, hairs, or anything in that layer of top coat. Don't wanna miss any spots. Just wanna be very careful and meticulous with it. Okay, and here is the finished look. I am absolutely obsessed with this plaid look. I hope you like it too. If you have any other suggestions for me or questions, please feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to answer questions, and you can always join the Discord channel that we have. I'm always there too. But thank you so much for joining me as always. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.